From one of the biggest downgrades LEGO's ever done, to an item that literally breaks your minifigure's legs. These are some of the most hated items LEGO's ever made. Up first is a set that's basically pointless. This is the LEGO Football Coca-Cola signboard from 2012. And I mean, just look at it. How in the world is this a real LEGO set? It literally only has 4 pieces, and it doesn't even come in a box, just some tiny little poly bag. This LEGO set, if you can even really call it that, is one of the biggest memes in the LEGO community, and it's definitely not for good reason. But some of the other items in this video will have your jaw on the floor, so make sure you watch all the way until the end of the video. Up next is one of the worst minifigure adaptations in all of LEGO, and funnily enough, it's actually in the Incredibles 2 theme. If I'm being honest, I've only seen the first Incredibles movie, but in the second one, they introduced this character called Brick. Because of how she's built, a big figure might not have been a bad idea, like what LEGO did for Hulk. But no, instead, this is what they made for her minifigure. I mean, like, come on, just look at this. Obviously, the proportions are way off, but even the colors are completely wrong. Brick made her debut in the Great Home Escape set, and that's the only set she's ever been in, for obvious reasons. When it comes to hated minifigures, this one is pretty high up, but there are some that are way worse than this, like LEGO Galidor. This theme came out all the way back in 2002, and was based on a show called Galidor that was on TV at the time. If you've never heard of this theme for some reason, allow me to present to you why it got, and still gets, so much hate. This is one of the sets in the theme. I promise I'm not trolling at all. I know what you're thinking. There's literally no way LEGO made this. It looks nothing like a LEGO set. And that, my friend, is exactly why it gets as much hate as it does. The sets in this theme are just ugly and look nothing like LEGO. The only thing that gets more hate than Galidor is you if you don't subscribe to my channel in the next 3 seconds. Trust me, you don't even want to know what happened to the last person that didn't subscribe. The funny thing about LEGO Galidor, though, is that for some reason, LEGO had another theme around the same time that had the exact same problem. That theme is Jack Stone, and just look at this dude. Let's just say hypothetically that this theme dropped today instead of in 2001. If I walked into a store and saw this guy in a box with a LEGO logo on it, I'd literally think it was fake and ask an employee if someone put him there as a prank. The craziest part about both Jack Stone and Galidor, though, isn't just the fact that they exist. It's that they both had way more sets than they should have. Galidor had 19 and Jack Stone had 25. I really don't know who was funding these sets back in the day, because seeing how much hate they get now would have made me think they had 5 sets between the 2 of them. Now, I just said that these themes have a lot of sets, but nothing gets hated on more than LEGO Star Wars. I have to say though, sometimes it's justified. There's a character in Star Wars named Eldar Beedo, and we saw him for the first and only time in The Phantom Menace. Obviously, this guy is the furthest thing from human, but when LEGO made a set of the pod racers from that movie, you won't believe how they made him in LEGO form. According to LEGO, this is the Eldar Beedo minifigure. And again, I'm not trolling. This is by far the most insane thing I've ever seen LEGO do. Whatever this thing is, looks absolutely nothing like Eldar Beedo. As much as I'd like to say it ends there, it unfortunately doesn't. A year before that Beedo minifigure came out, LEGO released the Mos Espa pod race set, and it was very apparent that what they did for Beedo wasn't out of the ordinary. This character's name is Gasgano, and he was also racing at the pod race. Did you get a good look at him? Well, this is what LEGO made him as in this set. I mean, all I can really do is sigh and shake my head. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here though, and go out on a limb and say that LEGO was cutting corners like this because business was going really badly for them at that time. Bionicle saved them in 2001, and these minifigures were from the years 1999 and 2000. So I guess they really didn't want to waste the money on new molds, even though they did for the Sebulba minifigure. That's also in the Mos Espa pod race set. But whatever, let's just move on to the next item. Up next is a singular piece that was so poorly designed that it literally broke minifigure's legs. The piece I'm talking about is this utensil stand, and to be honest, I have no idea how such a small piece was able to do so much damage. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like every single minifigure explodes as soon as you put it on this piece, but a fair amount of people online have talked about how over time, this piece will genuinely just crack and break the legs on your minifigures. It's pretty obvious why this thing is so hated, so let me show you a piece that would only be hated by some very unlucky people. LEGO just recently released a Mario Kart set, and as cool as it is, there's an evil little piece in this set lurking in the shadows. One of the biggest parts of Mario Kart are the items you get from the item boxes. So for the set, LEGO decided to include a red shell, a green shell, and a banana. Just like always, that banana piece is both sneaky and deadly. If for some reason you were to lose this piece and find it by, I don't know, accidentally stepping on it, it would probably be the most painful thing in the world. One Reddit user was unlucky enough to experience this, and made a post saying how it was quite literally the worst Lego piece they've ever stepped on. Other users compared it to a caltrop, saying that there's no safe way for this piece to land, which is definitely true. So if you ever end up owning this piece, make sure you know where it is at all times. If not, you might just end up setting the perfect trap for yourself. Getting back to items that aren't based on luck or bad luck, I want to talk about the LEGO Harry Potter Gringotts Bank set. This set is pretty new to the Harry Potter theme, and it's one that fans had been waiting on for a super long time. Overall, it's a great set. I mean, there's literally nothing wrong with it. That is, until you look above the front door to the bank. To make the sign that sits up there, you had to use stickers, which is super annoying, but nonetheless still possible. The only problem is that these stickers are super ugly. They're separated into two different ones, and LEGO even split up the word Gringotts. I mean, seriously, LEGO, TS really PMO, bro. This is such a widely known problem with this set that you can find customs online that sell the two stickers combined into one. This is definitely one of the uglier sticker jobs in a LEGO set, but there's another side to stickers that makes this look like nothing. I mentioned it before, but stickers are probably the most annoying part about LEGO sets. A theme that's infamously known for having way too many stickers in their sets is the Speed Champions theme. But there's a set in here that has stickers that are the worst. I mean, the worst to put on in the history of LEGO. That set is the Lamborghini V12, and take a look at what they're telling you to do on page 55 of the instructions. Apparently, you're supposed to take this teeny tiny piece and put an even teenier and tinier sticker onto it. Twice. There's literally no way anybody is putting that sticker on straight, especially if they're an adult. I mean, if you have big hands, you probably won't even be able to peel the sticker off in the first place. As bad as these stickers are, nothing's worse than when LEGO makes something look worse just to save money. This is the first ever Sam Wilson Captain America minifigure, and it came in the Marvel Studios random bag. This is a super sick minifigure for a lot of reasons, but the most obvious one are his wings. Like, look at how cool those are. This minifig came out back in 2021, and since then, LEGO's made a new version for a different set. As much as I wish I could say it was new and improved, it absolutely was not. LEGO literally took the best part about this minifigure and made it so much worse. If we're being honest, this was all probably somehow related to money, which is one thing we just can't seem to escape with LEGO, especially when it comes to the price of certain sets. This is the Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit set from LEGO Star Wars, and with just 250 pieces, you'd think this set would be super cheap. It's got a low piece count, and if we're being honest, it really isn't all that cool. For some reason though, LEGO put a price tag of $80 on this set. Fans immediately took to the internet, talking about how crazy this price is. None of it seemed to make any sense, until someone realized that this set actually completes a scene from Star Wars with a different set that costs $500. In Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, Luke ends up getting escorted to the Sarlacc Pit on Jabba's sail barge. This ship is the $500 set that I mentioned before, but the one thing nobody ever had was a Sarlacc Pit to complete the scene. Well, people put two and two together here, and realized that LEGO was charging this much because they knew how much everyone wanted a Sarlacc Pit in general, let alone to complete the scene. This obviously isn't confirmed or anything, but the set still gets a ton of hate nonetheless. Instead of talking about something so scummy, let's switch gears and talk about something that's out of LEGO's control, I think. Look at this picture someone posted on Reddit of their LEGO set. Notice anything wrong with it? Well, at first I didn't, but then I noticed that there are weird marks on every ingot and even on the stud too. So I did some digging and figured out that these marks are actually called mold marks, and every so often you'll find them on different LEGO pieces. They're basically a birthmark for a LEGO piece, but people really don't like seeing them. There are loads of posts online about how much people hate seeing mold marks and how they wish LEGO could just figure something out so they never have to see them again. This is something that never truly bothered me very much, but a lot of people think LEGO's just being lazy. I personally don't think that's true in this case. However, when it comes to the Loader Sword from the Lord of the Rings, I have a completely different opinion. This is by far the laziest way to make a LEGO sword I think I've ever seen. The only saving grace of this set is that it was an in-store exclusive in the US back in 2012. But even then, you can't deny the truth. This is just downright lazy. Loads of people online have joked about how insane it is that LEGO made a sword using these pieces, and this time I have to agree with them. There's one set in LEGO Star Wars, though, that just gets way too much hate, and it doesn't even make any sense. This is the First Order AT-ST set, and I know all the Star Wars fans are looking at this set in horror, but just give me a minute to explain. This set was released with the final movie of the Star Wars series, and there's a scene in this movie where the little orange droid, BB-8, pilots an AT-ST. He gets in a shootout with some stormtroopers, and the vehicle gets hit so badly that the top just falls right off. Looking back at the LEGO set, I think it's obvious enough that it's based on this scene, but people just were not having it. To this day, this is regarded as one of the worst sets in LEGO Star Wars, and I really just don't get it. I understand that an AT-ST with a head looks a lot cooler, but come on, this set is genuinely hilarious. Maybe I just have a bad character flaw, because I also think this bottle set is one of the funniest things I've seen in LEGO. It's got 8 pieces to its name, so it isn't as bad as the Coca-Cola signboard, but I think this bottle set is actually smaller. It's from the LEGO Studios theme, which hasn't seen the light of day in a really long time, so it's not like you'll ever see it on the shelves. But still, super tiny sets like this are hilarious to me. Like, why even make it at that point? Anyways, the last hated item I want to show you is actually a minifigure from the LEGO Harry Potter theme. As we've seen throughout this video, it's pretty obvious that the early 2000s were a rough time for LEGO. And while this Harry Potter minifig isn't anywhere as bad as Al Darbido, it's still pretty weird. The one I'm talking about is this Ron Weasley minifig from 2004, and I think we can all agree that his faceplate is just unsettling. It's like he wants to smile, but also wants to be angry, and kind of just ended up somewhere in the middle. A lot of people really don't like this guy because of that, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, who would want to see this faceplate in their collection? I'm curious though, what item did you hate the most in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.